take in, I give out, I let love, I let go, I release, and I know I forgive, I receive, I can feel, I believe, I am healed, I am whole, I release, I know. No need to push, no need to try, no need to worry or question why. Surrender, let go, release, and know.
Everyone wishes to live their best life. We experiment with various ways to achieve that, whether it is through study, competing, finding a partner, working hard, or admiring someone who inspires you. It is the quality of our inner being that does it all, or grapples with fulfilling life's calling. For the past 20 years, the Brahma Kumaris in Washington, D.C. has been a space for any and everyone to enter into and experience one's soul calling. From 1997, the center opened in an old rickety house on Georgia Avenue in Silver Spring, Maryland, where cars and trucks that passed by would shake the space. But when you were inside, it was a peaceful and powerful sanctuary for all who visited. Since then, over 2,500 events, 17 city and nationwide initiatives, 21 awards, 2 meditation museums, have served youths, senior citizens, entrepreneurs, scientists, authors, women, interfaith, the disabled, environment, small businesses, arts seekers, and even leaders. Millions of lives have been served, either through social media, the popular America Meditating radio show, or through exhibitions, lectures, partnerships, and programs held in the meditation museums and centers. We look at 20 years of service as a continued journey of love, courage, wisdom, and determination with friends from diverse backgrounds and thought who believe a better world is possible when we make ourselves better human beings. Meditation is an important tool that helps us to gain greater clarity, insights, and inner power so we can make healthy choices and amplify our capacity to live a full life. In times of great anxiety, insecurity, and fear, meditation is an essential practice for everyone to gain stability and inner strength. Just look at what a few dedicated, purposeful, and kind group of committed people have been able to achieve in 20 years. Thanks to everyone who have supported us along the way. And thanks in advance to those who believe in our work and power of intent. Brahma Kumari's Meditation Museums, where peace is inside.
Om Shanti, everyone. Nice to see you. Welcome to The Next Normal. I'm your host, Sister Jenna, and you have tuned into what seems to be an ongoing marathon online session since March 16th, where we first started off with the spiritual vaccine hour, looking for the inner cure. And it continues to reach this particular point where we're looking at what's our next normal. I think many of us might have thought we would have been locked down for a month or two, then went to 3, then 4, then 5. Then we're here in Washington, D.C. Now it's our 6th month, right? Moving on to the 7th is what it seems like. I'm not able to keep up with all the news, but I do get the news from friends and relatives, and they're like saying there are spikes going up in certain states, and I'm not sure if Virginia, Maryland, or D.C., if those are increasing. But our best wishes to anyone who might be under the energy of COVID right now, or just the anxiety of so much. The fear of what tomorrow holds. There are people, our brothers and sisters right now, somewhere across this country, that perhaps are really worried about the payment of their next bill. They're worried about their health and how that's faring out. Or maybe they might be in a home where there's domestic violence and there's really nowhere to go. There are also millions of children in the United States of America that don't have proper Wi-Fi or technology in order to amplify their teaching skills and education. And one has to wonder what will be the ripple effect. A lot of these things that I've mentioned are physical things, for sure. But how do we cope with them spiritually? How do we move into our next normal beyond all of this that's happening? How do we find the courage and the strength? For over 80 years in the Brahma Kumaris, there's been the course called Raj Yoga Meditation. And the Raj Yoga Meditation course is offered to anyone who's been actually seeking to understand more who they are, the purpose of their lives, or maybe they might be going through a really challenging period, and the soul knows that if it can gain some insights into itself, it can overcome the physical challenges that it might be encountering. You and I know that we can't always control our external environment, but we can definitely control the way we respond to it with the world behind our eye. So this week, I'm so happy to share that you're going to be taking the Raj Yoga meditation course. When the Meditation Museum was open, we would offer the course once a month on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, either at 12 noon or at 6:30 p.m. But now, Monday through Friday this week, from 6:30 to 7:30 p.m., if you participate in doing the whole course Monday through Friday, and we will keep in touch with you by staying on the comments list, whether it's on Facebook, Twitter, or here on the YouTube, then Antonia will reach out to you. We will request that you email us your name, phone number, and that you have participated in all of the 5 classes of this week. And from there, I will meet with you over Zoom privately to discuss further spiritual practices of how to use the tools of Raj Yoga meditation, what I have learned to become who I am. Basically, I wouldn't be the person that I am if it wasn't for Raj Yoga meditation, because it has given me an awakening of my third eye, of me seeing the world not just from my physical perspective, but I get a chance to see the world from my really deep inner perspective. And I never feel that I'm alone. I know that the energy of the divine, God, Baba, you've heard me mention Baba a lot, the energy of God's love and vibrations travel with me. And imagine when you are starting to be entrusted with great inner spiritual powers, then there's knowledge that's needed to understand karmically what's your responsibility for yielding such power. So then we have the sessions in karma, sessions in the cycle, sessions in how is it that we're all related, how is it that we all belong. So I'm hoping that this week, if you've joined in tonight, feel free to tell your friends to come on board, or let me know if you have sent them the link and that they have watched it and that they might have questions, because then we will follow through with them every day for this week as we move along. With the intention as well, on Friday, we will end the session and we will have a playlist of the program so that you can go back and revisit the course, because in order for you to enter into the advanced classes, which are offered every day, Monday through Sunday at 6:30 a.m. in all 9,000 of the meditation centers around the world, those advanced classes are really the deep work. That's where you really tap into those thoughts behind the thoughts and take that responsible leap of faith to say, I don't think I want to use these thoughts in my head anymore. I really feel there's a greater call emerging inside of me. I just don't know how to utilize it or how to bring it into action. The advanced classes will definitely offer you that. I was talking to a friend of mine the other day, and I've heard this over and over and over again, and it's become a broken record for us. But so many people will say, you all do so much. Our team is an incredible team of folks, and we're not professionals. We actually have learned everything along the way as we've developed our skills. And I've often told folks, if it wasn't for Baba, we just couldn't make it. I saw an old friend of mine, Brenda Richardson, who we've done so much work together in Washington, D.C. over the years. I had not seen Brenda for about 4 or 5 years, and last week I had a chance to see Brenda. Of course, she says I still look young. So that's always a good blessing. But Brenda was also sharing that it's been incredible as she has watched the work that we've done over the years and continue to do. And the words from her mouth was, I just don't know how you do it and how you continue. And I hear this over and over again. And I think you and I have witnessed people who seem to have kind of broken through that shield of limitation. They've broken through that orbit of limits. And I can only speak from my experience, and I think Santosh, Antonia, everybody else in the group, they'll say that if it wasn't for their souls being anchored in Baba's remembrance, they're pretty convinced they wouldn't know where to get the energy to continue. Now, when you look at energy, it's important for you to identify energy as a quality of thought. Again, I've given the example millions of times that sometimes when you're just not even in the mood, washing the dish seems like the hardest chore to do at night, because the energy of the right thought isn't there. In Raj Yoga meditation, you will learn about the power of your thoughts. You will learn about who you are. You will learn about who is God, the responsibility of our karmas, where we stop blaming people, judging people, criticizing people, wishing something was different, but rather we step into accepting this is what it is, but now let's see what we need to do. All right? So to take out your pen and paper, text your friends the link, which is right here somewhere down below. And I'm going to play you a video that basically gives you a kind of an opening of the first lesson in Raj Yoga meditation. When we ask ourselves the question, who am I? It is the million-dollar question. So enjoy this.
Who am I? Today, human beings have reached a stage where it seems that nothing is impossible for them. Have we not forgotten ourselves in this run for development? The question is the body with the brain complete by itself? Who drives the various organs of the body? Who sends relevant signals within and outside of the brain? Where do thoughts originate from? How do they interact with the body? Is the ultimate source of thought the brain, or is there something that operates the brain as well? Let us now embark on a unique journey, exploring, discovering, and understanding that eternal truth about the self, where we have full information and experience about who I am. This is not what I am. This is who I am. I am a soul, an infinitesimal, indivisible, and indestructible subtle point of sentient divine light, a metaphysical entity. As long as I, the soul, reside in the body is said to be living. When I, the soul, leave the body, it is said to be a corpse, and this occurrence is called death. However, I, the soul, continue to exist as I am eternal, indestructible, and immortal. I reside within the brain, behind the center of the eyebrows. Seated in this location, I, the soul, manage every organ of the body through the brain. The life energy starts flowing when a soul enters the fetus between the ages of 3 to 5 months. When the soul enters a new body, the past life's experiences, memories, and incidences are usually forgotten. On the opposite side, what is death? Death is the state when the soul leaves the body. When the soul leaves the body, which is a costume made up of bones, flesh, and blood, it becomes a lifeless corpse, which disintegrates to merge with the 5 elements of nature. The example of a car and driver is useful for understanding the difference between soul and the body. If you consider your body as a car, you, the soul, are its driver. Just as the driver turns the vehicle, moves it or stops it, so will a soul perform different activities through the body. But how can I experience myself as a soul, and how is that feeling? Think of a huge artificial human body having all the organs. If you are sitting on a chair behind the window of the eyes, what would be your experience? When you are looking through the window of the eyes, would you not feel yourself to be different from the window? The soul sitting in the body feels the same way. When my every action and behavior is filled with the awareness of the self as a soul, then I am very close to my original identity. This is soul consciousness. So let us have the awareness of the self as a soul. Live our life with spiritual vision and positive attitude towards all, so that our life and society are illuminated with the light of peace, purity, happiness, and love.
Welcome back. I absolutely loved looking at Daddy Janki at the end of that video and Daddy Gulza, who are our spiritual mothers, aunts, sisters. For 80 years they've been on the path, over 80 years. And so what I'd like to do now is to have us go into the first session of Raj Yoga meditation. We're in a very interesting period. And in this particular period of time, a lot of us are reflecting. If we're not reflecting, there might also be frustrations. If there aren't frustrations, then there could be questions, doubts. There could be really a sort of an anxiety in which we don't know what to do with ourselves, because now the only place that we have to go is either to the bathroom, the living room, the bedroom, or the kitchen. And of course, some of us are going outside and we go for a walk in nature, and many of us are working from home, and maybe some of us have also gone back to the workplace, or maybe we're essential workers and so we go out there. You might be a healthcare provider, or you might be an essential worker where you have to be at the stores and the markets and all of this to make sure that the rest of the world works. So it depends on your current situation. However, what we all have in common with each other is that there is an energy that's driving us in life. There is an energy that is very much running the show of life. So when we ask the question of who am I, there is an energy that we direct. We go behind the I and we try to find the answer to that. Sometimes we get confused with answering, who am I, by what we do. We go, oh, well, I'm a mother, and I'm a wife, and I'm a corporate executive, and I'm a doctor, I'm a lawyer. That's what we do. And that's actually a very normal way of answering, because we've been so action conscious for so long that the soul identifies more with the physical form of itself, with more the activity of the self, rather than the quality of the self. The example about the car and the driver, right? So you drive a car long enough and you enjoy the car, that eventually you get attached to the car. And if anything happens to the car, then you, the driver, react. Even if you're okay, the fact that something has happened to the vehicle, it impacts you, it affects you. So a lot of us are being affected by relationship, money issues, health issues, and a big one that's increasing, mental issues, which is more subtle, and we can talk about that later. But for today, the first lesson that I want us to really explore is about the who am I concept. And I'd like to invite you to just travel behind your eye. And for a little bit, accept the fact that who I am is a living energy, the point of light, the soul, the immortal, the eternal, the imperishable, the being, the metaphysical. I'm a soul. You're a soul. 8 billion of us are souls. Animals have a soul. Birds have a soul. I've had people argue with me, well, what about the vegetables? I'm not going to go there. Fish have a soul, right? So when the energy of the soul, as the video had shared, leaves the body, then nothing moves. And it's interesting how it starts to decompose, because there's no more breath coming through the system to keep giving it life. So when we're exploring who we really are, we start to identify the fact that the soul is carrying an energy inside of it. And the energy that it's carrying inside of the soul is actually a sum total presently of all the actions I've performed in the past. Events, relationships, activities of the future, and write this down because this might be a little bit of a brain teaser. All the events, activities of your future are also recorded in the soul, but it's merged. It hasn't blossomed yet. It's sort of like a seed. You don't really know what it's going to give you until you've planted it, watered it, given it some sunlight, given it some fertilizer, and given it time. So even the events, relationships, circumstances, and situations that are awaiting you in your future, that's recorded already in the soul. But it's merged. It's not developed yet. And right now, the most important practice when it comes on to identifying the self as a soul in the teachings of Raj Yoga is to pay attention to the present. That if you acknowledge and recognize that who you really are, you are the soul, but what type of soul are you really? If you can accept that the type of soul that you really are, and it's an energy that you've always wanted to be, is love. You hear me talk about it in all the sessions, but now we're putting it in a disciplined format. Peace, purity, truth, love, all of your original qualities that are in the soul. So when we look at it, the soul being in the awareness, in the embodiment, in the experience, in the remembrance of love, peace, purity, truth, and joy. When a soul in that state of consciousness expresses itself through the body, it's a very beautiful body. It becomes a really beautiful fragrance in that person's presence, sort of like when Sister Gita glides across the living room or in the walkway, we feel like an angel has passed by. Even though she's not able to remember everything, and even though she has dementia, that's on the surface. Really, what's at the core of who she is love, peace, purity, truth, and joy. And so what we feel when she walks across the room is the essence of her deepest traits as a soul, because that's where she serves herself the most. So one of the reasons why there's such a challenge right now in our world and in our society is that we're at a particular juncture where we're being invited to go into that space within our beings and to move away from focusing so much of our thought energy on the body, the status, the money, the relationship, the things, the extracurricular activities that we used to use to distract ourselves from ourselves. So what we're now being gifted because of this particular time period that we're in is to be able to accept that who we really are is an energy of love and purity and peace. And it's not just to say it, but it's to feel it. Om Shanti means I am a peaceful soul. Say it even in your mind right now. And as you sit and listen to these words, can you accept that you are Om Shanti? Om Shanti. I am peaceful, not I am at peace. I am peace. There's one thing about that simple mantra or practice. You won't be able to lie to yourself. If you actually reach a point by reminding yourself that I am peace, you will immediately get a signal from within your being. I don't feel very peaceful. This feels flat. I don't know if I really am. Well, I wasn't so peaceful this morning. And that gives you an opportunity or a tool to say, well, I wasn't peaceful. Why did I forget myself? Did I allow something from the outside to be stronger than my inner reality? So with the teachings of Raj Yoga meditation, it offers you an opportunity to keep investigating if you believe truthfully in who you really are, or are you going to keep feeding the illusion? Let's try it one more time. Who am I? I am peace. And as you do that simple practice, are you able to direct your energy behind your eye? Because the soul is sitting behind the eye and it's carrying such recordings. So let's try to explore how the soul works. And I don't know if we have one of those images that shows mind, intellect, and sanskars, and if Santosh finds it, I'm sure he'll put it up on the screen. But now let's imagine that the energy that is behind your eye, that you are, which is the living soul, has a way of functioning. It's universal. And each particular aspect within the soul has a very specific role of responsibility. So let's take a look at the image, because there are three aspects in the soul that I'd like you to become aware of. One is the soul has a mind. And the energy of the mind works like you watching television now. Like there's just, you have a lot of options. Things are coming and going. So the mind is where all of your thoughts just flow in and out. They just have a way of showing you certain things. If you ever find yourself in a bad mood or in a good mood, it's happening in your mind. Why? Because there is a thought that is emerging, whether known or unknown to you. Your mind, as a result of housing all of your thoughts, determines your emotions, your desires, your expectations, your wants, your losses, it's a very interesting function inside of the soul. Now, inside of the area of the mind, you don't create thoughts there. Thoughts are automatically flowing into your mind as a result of resolves, sanskaras, impressions, your personality trait, your memory track. So everything that the soul has felt over a long period of time or over many lifetimes, the vibration of that experience is held in your resolves, in your personality trait, in your sanskaras, in your subconscious realm within the soul. So that's where I was talking about the thought behind the thought. It's so deep. So that's why sometimes when you wake up in a great mood for no particular reason, it's a sanskar from some memory or experience of the past or of the present, because you are aware that happiness now is your religion. The impression of that experience sends a vibration or a frequency to the mind, which comes in the form of a thought, and the thought determines a feeling. In the practice of Raj Yoga meditation, the whole effort of Raj Yoga meditation is to clarify the experiences recorded in the resolve, to straighten up what's recorded in our sanskaras, to basically bring back to balance whatever is happening in our subconscious. So you heard me mention about love, peace, purity, truth, and joy. Those are the original sanskaras, the original personality traits, the original memory, the original resolves in every single human soul on the planet. And there was a time that that experience was complete in a soul. You were 100% filled with love, and there was never a compromise or a doubt that you weren't full and you weren't happy. As the soul continues to move on in life or take different bodies, in other words, live out one life and then finish that life because of karma. We'll talk about that in the 4th lesson. But it lives out a particular part and carries the resolve of whatever it experienced in this life. It carries the memory in the next life. If you've been doing this for quite a long time, after a while, energy just starts to change, and it's a natural law. Similarly to us here in the East Coast, where the seasons change. Spring, summer, winter, fall, and nobody can stop it. In the same way, the soul goes through a change of its own seasons of consciousness. So the love, the peace, the purity, the truth, and the joy, it starts to reduce gradually as it takes each birth in a particular way, because once the soul keeps seeing a physical body, going into physical titles, physical relationships, it starts to build attachment to the physical consciousness of itself. And as a result of getting attached to a physical consciousness of itself, the love, the peace, the purity, the truth, and the joy starts to reduce, and another quality of resolves begin to be birthed. Algae, anger, lust, greed, attachment, and ego. So when those 2 levels of resolves, when those 2 qualities of sanskaras are now recorded in the soul, which all of us are in that situation right now. All of us are in this situation where the love, the peace, the purity, truth, and joy, it's in there. But also the algae has also entered my experience. I know what anger feels like. I know what greed feels like. I know what attachment feels like. And many of us have gotten very accustomed to feeling attachment more than love. Feeling a sense of satisfaction when greed is been fed. feeling a sense of anger when I'm not able to, I don't know, maybe when I communicate, today I was communicating with somebody and I was speaking very soft and very sweet to the person, and they were oblivious in listening to what I had to say. And as I amplified my voice and I felt that I was losing my peace, and then I spoke to the person without benevolent feelings of peace, I knew at that exact moment, because I'm a Raj Yogi student, that I was feeding algae and not my true self. And so the moment I was able to capture that, I had to turn that around, go back inwards and apologize to myself and say, I know you didn't mean that. Let me come back to being who I am. And then I would recreate the thoughts within my own being to say, don't forget your religion. It is peace, it is love, it is purity, it is happiness. So as I would do that, I would push back out the energy of the algae that I just fed. And that's how you apply the practice of Raj Yoga. When you consider yourself a soul, you become aware of your limits, but also what is unlimited in you. And what you begin to realize is that your present moment is your most priceless moment, because your present moment says you have a choice. Feed what is immortal, eternal, imperishable in you, or feed your illusion. It's your choice. Being inside and not being able to move around as much and not having football games to go to, nightclubs, pubs, restaurants, we're now just sitting with the sum total of our resolves, sanskaras, subconscious, personality trait. And those vibrations are sending signals to the mind. So here's the power of Raj Yoga meditation. The third aspect within the soul is what we call the intellect. You can break it down in different languages. Your willpower, your conscious choice, your buddhi, your intellectual ability, your ability to discern if you really want to feed this thought or not. So here's how it goes for us on a day-to-day basis. So you wake up and you're in a good mood. And somebody comes and just does something oblivious to your empathy or your pure feelings, right? And they're really just in their own world and it's all about them. And they don't care anything about what you're going through, what you're feeling. Maybe they don't have to. But all of a sudden you find that your good mood of the day changes into your face getting frowned up like this. And then you start to have thoughts about the waste actions of the person. And in the midst of you thinking about the waste actions of the person, you start to include your expectations of what you want from that person. And then your anger starts to build. Then your ego starts to build. Then the greed for power starts to build. And all of that starts to accumulate inside of you. And if you don't use your intellect, your conscious choice, your willpower, your buddhi to say, why am I going down that rabbit hole? Because now the intellect becomes the portal where what I am telling you right now, that is going through the portal of your intellect. It's not going to your mind. It's not going to sanskars, not yet. It's first entering the portal of intellect. And what the intellect is going to do, it's going to sift. What is she saying? How does this relate to me? Where do I take this? And it sifts the understanding. She's telling this to me because she has reminded me my original identity and religion is that I'm a peaceful soul. So that means any event, relationship, circumstance, or situation outside of me that is the opposite to that peace. And if I choose to receive that situation or accept that situation with my intellect in the peaceless form that it comes to me, and then I add my peace to it, I'm feeding the resolve and the sanskar of algae, or anger, or greed, or attachment. And so that means I am responsible for the way that I feel. And I'm responsible for the vibrations that comes out of my being. That means I'm responsible for the events and the circumstances that circulate around me, because I, the master of my own life, chooses to accept anger or peace, chooses to accept happiness or sorrow, ego or self-respect, purity or impurity. And depending on how much I feed into those levels of consciousness, that's what revolves around my conscious field of vibrations. It enters into the way my relationships unfold. It enters into how the relationships come and leave me. It affects my finance. It affects my health. It affects everything. So in this first lesson of Raja Yoga meditation, the intention is for us tonight to accept I'm responsible for the way that I feel, or the way I choose to feel. But then you also understand that stuff has been carrying with me for a long time, and I'm just now figuring that out. So now I have to sift and discern, well, what do I want to choose? What quality, what resolves do I want to feed in the soul? Love, peace, purity, truth, and joy? Anger, lust, greed, attachment, or ego? It's up to you. So the first lesson of Raj Yoga, in Hindi, मैं कौन? Who am I? Atma, मैं आत्मा हूँ. I'm a soul. What type? Shanti. I am peace. So let's watch another video to take you a little bit further into what I've explained. And I hope you're learning a lot from today's session. As you can see, it's a completely different spectrum, the Raj Yoga course, than what we generally do every night. But that's where it really wakes up the soul. And this is where, if you really do the next 5 days, you won't be the same person on the 6th day. That's for sure. Enjoy the video.
Who am I? Am I just this body? When I look into a mirror, what am I looking at? Is that me? Is there more to me than my body? I am aware of my body's shape and size, its appearance, its state of health, how it feels sitting in this chair. But who am I? When I introduce myself to others, how do I let them know who I am? I may start with my name, my occupation, my family, my age, my address, and other descriptions about my life. These are all external descriptions of me. Is there more to me than this? Who am I? I am aware of my memories, my experiences in life, the things I have done, the people who have affected me, and the places and events that have influenced me. These all make up my inner world, my inner identity. All my experiences and interactions have shaped my personality and give rise to my thoughts and feelings. I ask myself, is there still a deeper aspect to my identity? Is there an eternal part of me that is unaffected by relationships and the world around me? What is my spiritual identity? Who am I? My spiritual identity, my eternal identity, is soul. I am a soul, a being of energy. My appearance is like a tiny star, a radiant being of pure energy. A spiritual being giving life to this physical body. I imagine how I would look separate from my body. I picture myself as a being of light, like a star, a tiny star, like the stars in the night sky. When I look at those stars, I feel a sense of peace and tranquility. Those stars in the sky are enormous worlds, but so far away from us that they seem like mere tiny sparkling points. There is an enormous world that makes up who I am, and that too is all contained within a tiny, tiny star. I imagine myself free from all the influences of my life, floating free as a star. Pure, radiant, peaceful energy. Away from the influences of my life, Who am I? I am a being of peace. My spiritual identity is soul, and the nature of soul is peace. Not a momentary absence of disturbance, but a real and permanent peace. The nature of soul is love, not a needy, superficial love, but a lasting, spiritual love. I reconnect with my spiritual identity, with my true nature of peace and love. When I'm caught up in the world and its events, and the roles and responsibilities that make up my daily life, sometimes I feel separated from my true self and my nature of peace and love. In this quiet moment, I remember that I am a spiritual being of peace and love. This is the real me, my eternal identity. It feels good to be at peace. I sense once more that I'm sitting inside this body. My energy returns, and I know who I am.
Okay, so I think that gave you pretty much a clear idea of the first lesson of Raj Yoga meditation. And the good thing about this is that you can keep scrolling back and forth on the link on the YouTube, on your YouTube or Facebook, and go back to really revisit what was said and what was shared. This is your most important lesson because this is the foundation of your whole transformation. Once it becomes pretty clear that you really accept the living soul, the living energy behind your eye, it will never die, but it will go through the experiences of all the choices it has made. Then you have to really come to some conclusion. There are certain things in my life that I must change. So whether it's a pandemic, a health opportunity, financial insecurity, a relationship, many times they force us to go in to make an internal change. And the change that takes place has to be a transformation of a thought form, because the thought forms are so conditioned by the resolves, the sanskaras, the personality trait, the memory track, the subconscious. So who changes the thought form? The intellect, your conscious choice, your willpower, your buddhi. So there are thoughts that are going to come, and you then have to discern with your intellect, does this serve my present realization of who I am? I'm a peaceful, pure, powerful soul? Does this thought serve my tomorrow? The story or the memory that's merged now but will be to my tomorrow? Because whatever you're experiencing now actually goes into your future. And if what you've been experiencing are stuff from the past, then you're only repeating it in your future. The effort and the agenda of Raj Yoga is to transform repeating those memories of the past, especially those that have the vibrations of algae in it, and to refine it and to redo it all over again every second, every moment. You get a chance to change these thoughts and put them into the purest of experience possible. So what I'd like to do now is to offer you a homework assignment for tonight. While you're walking and moving around in your home, see if you can practice just reminding yourself, I'm a peaceful soul, putting peace on the ground. I'm a peaceful soul stirring the pot. I'm a peaceful soul taking a shower. And think about the experience of what peace is like as you're walking and moving around in your home. Bring the awareness to the forefront of your consciousness. If for whatever reason you recognize that you're getting upset with somebody, you immediately now know, but that's a sanskar from algae. Why would I feed that? It only brings me sorrow. So then you pull back. You take a breath. You go back in the world behind your eye. You recall, you remember, who am I? I am pure. I am peace. I am love. And then you respond from that place within. So whatever is the person or the situation outside of you, let that be. But let it be that you can hold on to your true essence of who you are. Okay, so that's your homework assignment, to keep checking that as you're walking and moving along tonight and tomorrow. And let me know tomorrow how you feel like it has made a difference and a shift for you. Thank you so much for joining us today on Our Next Normal, and thank you for participating in the Raj Yoga meditation course of this week. Again, it's highly recommended that you do all the 5 lessons. If you miss one of the classes, you'll miss a lot because you'll miss the connection with each of the sessions. So try to scroll back, go back in it, visit it, play it before you go to bed tonight, play it in the morning so you can get it. I can guarantee each and every one of you, once this wakes up inside of you, you will not be the same person. It'll be impossible. Your powers will just return. You'll feel automatically you're being moved to your next best version. This is how powerful the course is. Thank you for joining us. Have a lovely night and enjoy this song, which is all about Om Shanti. Take care.
Shanti Om. I'm a peaceful soul. Oh, sing out the sound of Shanti throughout the earth and sky, throughout the earth and sky. Om Shanti Om. Om Shanti Om. Sing Om Shanti, burn negativity in the fire of God's love, in the fire of God's love. Om Shanti Om. Om Shanti Om. Om Shanti की महिमा समझे दुनिया की हर खो. Tell people everywhere the sweet meaning of Om Shanti Om. Om Shanti